Welcome back to the podcast. Today we've got my really good friend, Aarti Anand, with us from Kodenyx AI. Finally, listen, entrepreneurs, you're finally going to find a way to put together some AI into your business that's going to make a difference to give you back your time, your freedom, a little bit more energy to be able to get creative and think of those big ideas. Aarti, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anthony. I'm excited.
AI, how do I use AI to start to really impact my business? Every one of us out there is a cat chasing a laser pointer, trying to figure out AI. How do I use this stuff? How's it going to impact my business?
Yeah, and I love that you started with the cat chasing the laser, because that's what I do with our dog all the time. So one thing I think the founders suffer from is the shiny object syndrome. And I always say the most expensive resource in your business is your time. You're the business owner, you're the founder. Where I want to use AI in my business, and I'm helping other business owners do the same, is how do you protect your time with the help of AI? So as a founder, where you do things that light you up and they also print you money, those are the only type of tasks that you should be doing on a daily basis. You need to protect your time religiously. And the way to do this is what lights me up and what prints me money. Those are the tasks that you keep to yourself. Everything else, you either delegate or you eliminate or you automate. If you were to delegating, you have to hire someone, then you look at their price point, what is their hourly rate, and what you need to delegate it to. If there is things that they don't print you money, you need to eliminate them. And then there are tasks which do print you money. Someone has to sit down and do it. And there is a tool or automation that exists. Then let's just go build that automation and automate it. So you then can run that task or workflow 100x faster. And that will give you a leverage and an edge over your competition, which it will be very hard for them to catch up in 12 months from now.
And look, and we all know that, right? We all know that by automating and using AI to take some of those tasks that are mundane, that are monotonous, that are just soul sucking, energy losing stuff that we do that none of us want to do, but we need to do that to keep the business rolling, to get new fresh ideas, to get new fresh customers, to bring that workflow, to keep that workflow fed. We've got to do it. So how do you start to look at those and start to identify where can I use AI to start to automate and create these systems that will work?
Right. So it starts with, just like you said, the tasks that need to get done, meaning they're tied to the revenue of the business. Because at the end of the day, if that workflow doesn't achieve you bring cash in your business, why are you even doing this? So if it's tied to an outcome and a key metric that you're tracking, it needs to get done. Then you look at how many times it needs to get done. What is the frequency? How many hours? Who is involved in doing that? What are all the tools? And that's how you figure out if I need to find an automation that I can put together the tools or hire someone to do it. And then in the end, how many hours is it going to save? What is the ROI, return on investment, on that dollar amount that I set aside for putting that automation together? And as a founder, what do I achieve by installing that process in my business?
Look, there's a plenty of those soul-sucking, time-crunching things that we can start to look at. Let's just start with business development, right? Look, I need to get more revenue I need to get more opportunities, right? So picking up the phone, calling customers, hunting them down, looking for them. It's a very time-consuming process, right? How do I start to look at that as an automation?
Yeah, so that's a great starting point. You could have an AI voice agent installed in your business, which could either make outbound calls where you're qualifying the leads on autopilot. So think about when you pick up a call, what are the questions you ask? 95% of them are the FAQs that if you create an SOP, internal training, either a video or text based, then you feed it to AI and then you train your model on top of the LLM that you're using. Now it's a digital employee which can make calls even after office hours. And that's not even the whole point. The point is how much time you're spending pre-qualifying the leads before you actually can make a sale. All that time that's spent in pre-qualifying, AI can do that part. And then it can filter the noise out for you. Once you have that signal that this is a prospect who's problem aware, they're also solution aware. Now you just have to pick up the phone and convince them that you're the right person to help them with that problem and you have the solution that they're looking for. So this is just one task, right? All the admin, which is way below your pay grade as a founder of the business, you got to automate them like 6 months ago. All the admin tasks, your inbox, classifying the emails, you should not be doing any of that. All the proposals that you send, let's say you're a really good salesman, you get on 10 sales calls a week and your sales script is so good, every time someone jumps off of a sales calls with you, they want to buy from you, so they want to see the proposal. If you sit down after every sales call and you customize and you personalize the proposal and you spend 2 hours doing that, guess how many hours you wasted a week? 20 hours if you jumped on 10 sales calls and everybody asked for a proposal, right? 20 hours is 50% of your time. If you put a $500 amount to your hourly rate, how many dollars have you just lost in your business?
Well, just the distraction of it, right? The taking me off of what I do the best, right?
Exactly.
Being in front of a customer, talking about what we do, getting them excited. Look, that's where the energy belongs, right? Because people, that's the gift that I have as an entrepreneur, or the entrepreneur has for the customer. Right? There's a magic in that conversation. Soul sucking proposal writing can be really tough, but if it's not done right, now I can have a problem. So talk about how do we start to automate that?
Yeah. So you look at what are you selling? Maybe you have 5 products. You have custom automations for all 5 of them, but it's a once and done system. Unless you're creating 5 more products every month, which I don't think anybody does. Oh. You have repeatable rinse and repeat offers, but the proposals have to be customized based on who you are selling to, what has been their past, what is the typical bottleneck that you're helping them solve in their business. What is it exactly that they're looking for? What is the outcome? What is the timeline? How does your solution help? All of this can be customized with the help of AI. If you train the model on your marketing material, your sales script, how you write your emails, how you give talks, how do you do podcasting, you feed all of that into an LLM and you train it. And now it's a digital employee who knows, and it's so experienced. It probably has 5 decades of experience more than you. You use all of that information to personalize, but it's all automated. What I do is after I get off a sales call, I put 5 or 6 key things that I want that proposal to be customized with. And then my AI goes in the back and then runs all of that and does the prompt engineering. And in the end, I put a 30-minute timer, but I can actually have that proposal sent out automatically in under less than 5 minutes after the sales call is over. But I don't do that because I don't want them to think it's all AI generated, which it is, but it's personalized to the point where they actually think that I sat down and I wrote it. But think about if it saves me, if I'm taking 10 sales calls a week and it saves me 20 hours a week, 50% of my time is back on my calendar and I can go do strategy. I can go do podcasting. I can guest and host on a podcast. And that's where I get my energy from, which is what you said. And on those days when I'm on podcasting and I'm having these conversations, my energy is completely different than when I'm hopping on a sales call, where the energy that I bring in is completely different than when I'm on a podcast.
Interesting. Look, there's where the entrepreneur wants it, right? Where can I start to take those tedious tasks and get them out, get them into a system that will operate? Another one that we spend is in our financial planning, right? Our budget forecasting and starting to look at, every entrepreneur, at least for me, I run pretty dynamic companies, and I sit down with the accounting team and I'm always looking for, all right, where are we bleeding? Where are we hemorrhaging? Where are we not being efficient? How do we start to look at our people's capacity, right? What's the revenue? What's the projected revenue? What are the teams actually producing? And who on the team is, there's a lot of people that are moving a lot, and that doesn't always equal to generating a lot. Yeah. Right. Because both may be not in alignment. And, I'll get all the time, well, we're working real hard. Great. But is it in alignment with our revenue production needs that we need to create?
Yeah. And it's so true, because busy is not productive, right? So what is the goal? What is the target? And is everybody aware they're moving in that direction? So what I like to do is, if someone comes to me, which has been some bigger companies and some smaller scale companies too. So anybody who's running a larger team, they don't have figured out, the business is growing, but they don't have figured out, well, where can I start using AI today? They don't have a lead gen problem. I like to containerize the solutions that we develop. So lead gen is one container, lead nurturing is another container, and then internal operations is another container. So what I like to do in that case, if they come, they're AI curious, they're using some of the tools, Airtable, Zapier, here and there, but not everything is tied together, and there's no storyline. What I like to do is we run an AI audit for them. The way we do it is it's a 4-week process, and I've created my own framework, which is, I call it MAPS framework. So we map your workflows in week 1. What are the processes that are responsible for helping you run your business in current shape and form? I collect 3 pieces of input from them. It's 1 hour live call with me, and where you sit down, you talk about the goals, the aspirations, the vision you have for the next 5, 10, 15 years. How big is your team, where people are responsive? So I basically sit down and talk with leadership for a couple of hours. Then I send them my intake form. So the leadership call, that's qualitative data. I look at what they are passionate about, what really strained them when they were talking about it. I capture all of that. Intake is quantitative data. And then third is, through a folder, they upload some snapshots on internal processes they're running. Now I collect those 3 pieces of information. It gives me enough information to map out how many processes are responsible for running your business today. For some, it's 10, for 15. The latest AI audit we ran, it was total of 27 workflows that are responsible for helping them run their business on a day-to-day basis. That's week 1. Week 2, we assess them, and we have our own shift framework, which has 5 different dimensions that we use to assess every workflow. And then we figure out a list of top 10 or 15, which are, if you automate them, you'll give them the highest ROI. So not everything in your business is worth automating, but what are the top few that will give you the ROI, and what does that ROI look like in terms of dollar amount, in terms of number of hours saved, cost savings, and all that good stuff. That's week 2. In week number 3, then we redesign those workflows from manual today to AI first workflows. Now they could be traditional automations. It could be AI powered automation. It could be an AI agent. We classify them. If we were to automate them, which of these 3 categories this workflow is going to live in, and it's still going to give you the ROI that you're looking for. That's week number 3. We've redesigned all those manual workflows to AI first now.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty good.
4, we take all of that and we print out a report. It's roughly anywhere between 50 to 60 page report, which takes you, again, it's a complete blueprint. If you, at the end of week 4, you decide you need to go attack the workflow number 1 on our list, you can either hire us or you can go to another vendor. Or if your team is enthusiastic, they can go implement their workflow. And our promise is, within the first 2 months, you'll get the ROI back on the investment you made on the AI audit with that one workflow, if you decide to automate that after week 4.
That's awesome. Look here, that's actionable behavior I can do to go make a change. Look, and I don't think that takes a lot for us. And every entrepreneur that's on here is looking for those places to implement that AI automation, right? And these are look, just start. And I keep telling everybody, just start with one, right? If it's in the sales side, or if it's in the prediction side, or it's in the onboarding side, here, wherever that needs to happen. I'm using ChatGPT. I'm like, look, that's not getting it done. Right here, that's a good, maybe I'm not afraid of AI. Great. Thank you for using ChatGPT. But that's what everybody should be doing. Like, that's a minimum expectation. Now we've got to start to get AI into efficiencies so that, look, we're constantly being asked to do more with less. And in order for us to maintain that, we've got to start to execute on some of these strategies. So I think, Andy, that's already, that's a great spot to look at.
Yeah. And then just to double click on something you said, people say they're using ChatGPT, they're using AI in their business every day. And my next question is how? They say, well, I use this to write my emails. And I'm like, that's good, but how is that making you money?
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Right. Sure. Have them read your emails and write your emails. Yeah, that's clever. I like where you're going with that. And I think the most of us, when I speak to groups, when I go out to speak in front of audiences, I get all the time, they're always asking me, what are the things, where are you using this? How are you doing it? And it's just in that, having a coach like yourself to guide me through those places where I can start to do that. That's really what we need to see. And look, leaders, just like in the past where you needed to learn about self-awareness or personal development or all the books you've read today, that you got to turn that tape to AI learning, AI development. How do I find those places where I can get an AI coach to guide me through the business parts of my life, so I can start to automate these systems? And that's the shift, right? Right now, that shift is where each of you need to be looking, right? It's not, a lot of friends of mine are looking to outrun AI. They're trying to get to the retirement before before AI kicks in. I'm like, look, you're not going to get there. It's now. AI is here today. You do not have a 10-year roadmap to get there, to make it there. 10 years from now, those companies that are not implementing AI won't be here.
Yeah, I guess, again, the lens I look through at is it's a piece of tech. How do you want to use it to get you where you want to be? If you can get there 5x faster, like, why won't you do it? It's a no-brainer. And then I guess, it's a new kid on the block, and there is a hype and people shy away, and there are fears, of course, right?
Well, that's it. It's my fear. Think about this. I mean, how many of those guys that you're working with, or how many of those entrepreneurs, women, or people that you're working with? I mean, look, I'm 57. I have had to change in 57 years. I started with no computers, and then I had beepers and cell phones and computers, and I went through Windows 1 and 2 and 10 and 12. Look, I've gone through the 15, 16 different iPhones. I have had to change, and some of us are a little worn out. So I feel like, that's where they stop growing. And it's like, look, take a deep breath. You're going to be okay. You're going to be, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's just, I think that's what's my biggest, at least from where I sit in all the podcasts that I do with folks, it feels just like the fear of taking that one more step.
Yeah. And the way I handle those objections is I basically tell them, what is the fear? What is the limiting belief you have? And then let's go attack it. So either you have a knowledge gap, meaning you're not educating yourself enough on the topic, in which case you should already have a group of people you talk about AI on a regular basis. That's one. Second, is it your team holding your back? They're not sure. So then we need to go educate them. How do we do it? I run AI workshops. I do AI audits. And then at the end of the audit, if you just take that one workflow that's on the top of my list, and that's the one I recommend, you go install it. You start with that small win. You show your team the ROI. You also hold the standards in your business is, I'm using AI on a daily basis, and this is where it's helping me. Everybody on the team has to use it, period, full stop. You start with those standards, and you also educate your team on regular basis via trainings, via SOPs. You take them with you on the path that you're trying to get to. But before you go there, you also need to have a target. Where are you taking your team with you? What is the goal? Why? When you start to unpack that, it just becomes a no-brainer for everybody, because now everybody's on the same level.
But last week we broke through some great AI stuff here at one of the companies I own, and amazing, right? We took we're able now to break down a construction project down to how many nails and how many pounds of nails we're going to use for every project we have.
Yeah.
I mean, how many screws, how many nuts, how many sheets of drywall, how many gallons of paint. The ability for us to do a takeoff on a project has never been so clear. And I take it up. We take it up to the estimating team, and you can even see it in their faces. They're like, "Well, is that going to take my job?" I mean, think about this. It took 8 people, several days per project of bidding. 8 people. Now we're doing that same work in minutes. Like
Yeah.
literally, the AI model is able to take that same takeoff and scope of work development, and we're doing that in minutes. And it's quite impressive, that breakthrough. Now the fear comes in with the team, like, oh, well, what about me? Oh, what's my job? And stand with them and go, look, there's plenty of other places we can't automate yet, right? And we're going to need more attention on those. Outreach to great subcontractors. Today we're creating these because of those takeoffs we're doing in pre-construction. We're able to go out to subcontractors and help them support their bids to be even better. Now, part of it is we need champions to go out there and communicate that. Like, hey, look, we're going to send you a takeoff like you've never had before. You don't have to do it yourself, and because we're that kind of a business partner. And you're selling that story to them is a part of it. Our AI can't quite do that as well as you can. Maybe one day we will, but as of today, that's that task needs to be done by you guys, where you go out and say, look, we as a business partner, we've done this for you, and show them how that makes us a better partner working with a company like us. Like, we've taken mitigated a lot of your risk out of that. So, that's the constant evolution. Are you seeing that happen in other teams?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, it's a fear. It's coming from a limiting belief.
Sure.
How do you handle that fear? Is you start talking about their goals, where that particular team member wants to be in 5 years from now. Then let's start to unpack. This is where you want to be. This is where you are today. How many tasks you're doing on a daily basis, which are not moving you in the right direction? You take that, now you don't want to do it because they are not aligned with your goal. Can we eliminate them? Can we delegate them? Or can we automate them? You start to tie your goals with their goals, and then they're going to move with you. It's leadership and mindset first, before the technicality and before the functional changes that happen in the team. Everybody has to be on the same page before they start taking that action.
You're just a wealth of knowledge and inspiration. I love where you're going with this. If someone wants to have you come and work with them, and bring Kodenyx AI into the picture, and do some work with their company, how do they get you on board?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. You can just DM me there. And then all you have to do is, again, take my email, send me in a message, and hop on a 15 minutes call, and we can see if we are a good fit. We can either come in, automate a portion or a container in your business, which is tied to a revenue goal or a bottleneck that you're hitting right now, which is stopping you from scaling and going to the next level. Or if you think you're AI curious, but you have no clear plan, you have no roadmap, we can come and get you settled up with an AI audit in less than 4 weeks, which is, I keep repeating, 4 weeks is a typical time executives in a company sit down in a conference room, they talk about strategy, and we give you the whole blueprint to the point where you have redesigned AI powered automated workflows on a piece of paper. Now you go and you hire someone to implement it, and it's less than a 4-week process. So AI audit is a really good place to start if you are at that level where you're trying to double your revenue, but you don't think, if I send you 500 more customers tomorrow, you know for sure that your systems are going to break. So let's get you on an AI audit and start from there.
Artie, that's a beautiful way of looking at it. Look, every one of us knows that's what we need to do to be able to be scalable. Why most companies aren't scalable? So they don't know that. So they keep bumping up against their own limitations, their own self-developed limitations. And a lot of times I feel it's like fish in a fish tank. You know, oh look, bubbles. Look, bubbles. They go back through it over and over and over again. And you're like, look, you can stop doing that, but you have to be able to see it. You got to see where you're creating those limitations, why you don't have the infrastructure to be able to absorb another customer, why every time you start another customer in the hassle that it creates in your organization, that really slows down that opportunity. So I think it's great. 4 weeks is nothing. And look, most of us spend 4 weeks on much smaller ideas, and it'd be a gift to have you come on board and start to look at that.
Absolutely. And and like I said, we're on LinkedIn. And I'm just an email or a DM away, and would love to hop on a 15 minutes discovery call with anybody who's interested.
Well, we're going to put all that data down below so that look, audience, go do that now. Look, try it out. What do you have to lose in a 15-minute discovery call? You might get something out of it that will change the perspective that you're looking at. And for all of you that keep asking me, how do I implement AI? This is how you do it. You bring an AI coach on, and they support you through go and look at your workflow and start to identify where to do that with. And I'm telling you, this is what is the game changer for all of us, right? For all entrepreneurs that are out there right now, implementing AI into your current workflows as quickly as you can. I can't tell you to go do that, fast enough. So let's get out there and do that. Artie, thanks for being on the show. I'll make sure to put everything down below for everybody to get to.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
It's wonderful. Last week, audience, we had 7,000 downloads. It blew me away. But I noticed that a lot of you guys had made it to the end of a podcast and you weren't subscribers. If you could just take a second and like and subscribe now, it makes the world a difference to us. Artie and the group, it gets us our great guests and have them come on. Those numbers do make a difference in us finding great people. So if you could do that now, I would be grateful. And as always, thanks for listening.